May 5th, 1945. Austria. The war in Europe has less than 3 days left. Hitler is dead. The German army is surrendering in waves. But high in the Tyrolean Alps, a medieval fortress stands on a hill, a castle. And inside this castle, the strangest scene of World War II is taking place. If you look through a pair of binoculars, you wouldn't believe your eyes. On the castle walls, you would see American soldiers. They are firing their machine guns. But right next to them, shoulder to shoulder, are German soldiers. Not prisoners, not captives. They are armed. They are wearing Wehrmacht uniforms, and they are shooting at other Germans. Leading them is an American tank commander who looks like a movie star, and a German major who just wants to go home. They are fighting a common enemy, the Waffen-SS. A fanatical SS division is climbing the hill to slaughter everyone inside. The Americans and the Germans have one tank. They have limited ammunition, and they are protecting the most valuable prisoners of the war, French prime ministers and generals. This isn't a movie script. This actually happened. It is the only time in history that the United States Army and the German Army fought as allies in World War II. This is the story of the Battle for Castle Itter, the day enemies became brothers, and the day a Sherman tank named Besotten Jenny held the line against the SS. To understand why this battle happened, we need to look at who was inside the castle. Schloss Itter wasn't a normal prison. It was a luxury cage. The Nazis used it to hold honor prisoners, high-profile French VIPs. Inside were men who once ran France: Edouard Daladier, former prime minister; Paul Reynaud, another prime minister; General Maxime Weygand, former head of the French army; and Jean Borotra, a famous tennis star. They hated the Germans. But truthfully, they also hated each other. They spent years arguing politics while the SS guarded the doors. By May 1945, the guards were getting nervous. The SS commander at the castle, Sebastian Wimmer, knew the war was lost. He knew that if the Americans found him, he would be arrested. But he also knew something worse. He had orders from Himmler. No prisoner leaves alive. On May 4th, Wimmer looked at the approaching American lines. He looked at the SS units roaming the forests nearby, and he made a choice. He ran. The SS guards fled. The French VIPs were suddenly free, but they were trapped. The castle was surrounded by woods filled with the 17th SS Panzergrenadier Division. These were die-hard Nazis. They were executing anyone who tried to surrender. If the French walked out, they would be massacred. The prisoners armed themselves with weapons left behind by the guards. But they were old men. They weren't soldiers. They needed help. And they found it in the most unlikely place. A few miles away, in the town of Wörgl, Major Josef Gangl was trying to keep his men alive. Gangl was a Wehrmacht officer, a professional soldier, a veteran of the Eastern Front. But he was also anti-Nazi. He had secretly been helping the Austrian resistance. Then a messenger arrived, a Czech cook who had ridden a bicycle through SS lines. "The French leaders are trapped," he said. "The SS is coming to kill them." Gangl faced a choice. He couldn't defeat the SS alone. but he couldn't let innocent men be slaughtered. So he did something insane. He grabbed a white flag, jumped into his Kubelwagen, and drove toward the American lines. He wasn't driving to fight. He was driving to ask for help. 8 miles away in Kufstein, the U.S. 12th Armored Division had arrived. Leading the reconnaissance unit was Captain John Jack Lee, cigar-chomping, loud, fearless. He looked like he stepped out of a Hollywood film. Nearby sat his tank, a Sherman named Besotten Jenny. Then a German car approached with a white flag. Lee reached for his pistol, but the German officer saluted. It was Major Gangle. Gangle explained everything in broken English. French VIPs, an SS attack, a desperate stand. Lee listened, chewed his cigar, looked at the map. "All right, Fritz," he said, "let's go get them." Lee gathered a force, 2 tanks, 7 infantrymen, and a truckload of German soldiers, an American tank in front, a German truck behind it, driving together into SS territory. They fought through roadblocks. The Germans fired Mausers. Besotten Jenny blasted the way clear. They reached the castle. Lee took command instantly. Tank at the gate, Germans on the walls, Americans in the towers. German and American soldiers shared cigarettes, shared food, checked each other's weapons. They all knew one thing. When morning came, they might die together. At dawn, the fog lifted. Then the first shot. 150 SS troops advanced, mortars, machine guns, an 88mm anti-tank gun. The shells struck Besotten Jenny. The tank burned. Now it was rifles against an army. Major Gangle pushed Paul Renault to safety and was shot dead. The hero of the day was a German. With ammunition nearly gone, Jean Borotra ran, through gunfire, across open ground, into the woods. He found American reinforcements. Minutes later, Sherman tanks rolled into view. The SS scattered. The siege was over. Captain Jack Lee survived. Major Joseph Gangle did not. Gangle is remembered in Austria as a hero. The Battle for Castle Itter remains the only time American and German soldiers fought side by side in World War II. A strange victory, a human one, at the very end of a terrible war.